Today's lesson is a coaster. Okay, for today's sewing lesson, we're going to learn straight lines. Turn our machine on. So to practice a straight line, what I want you to do is place your fabric along this line of your foot. See that right there, that line of your foot? Your fabric should follow a straight line. Put your hand here. This hand is here. These are your guiding hands. Think of them as a steering wheel. I've got my sewing machine set on medium speed. If you're uncomfortable with that, put it on slow if your machine offers it. What we'll do is sew 3 stitches forward, stop sewing, hit your reverse button. You have to hold on to it, push it, go back to the beginning of your fabric, and then you go forward again. What that does, when you go backwards and forwards 3 stitches, it does not have to be exactly 3 stitches. It could be 5, it could be 10. I know with beginners it's hard, and they think it has to be three stitches. It does not. It has to be 3 or more. But when you go backwards over it and then forwards again, it locks the stitch. That keeps it from coming undone when your project is done. Okay, now we're going to continue. I want you to practice a straight line. Make sure your fabric is lined up. See how I lined it up? Line it up and hold it. Now, we're going to go all the way to the end of my fabric. I want you to do the same thing. Go to the end of your fabric. And your whole goal right now is just to guide it. Okay, now I stopped. I'm like 1/2 inch maybe from the end of my fabric. I stopped with the needle down, pick the foot up, turn it, and because I'm about halfway down, it comes up just about right. Now, your stitch is continuing, so you do not have to go frontwards and backwards. The only time you go frontwards or backwards is if you cut your thread. Since we did not cut our thread, we do not have to go frontwards and backwards. We're just going to continue on. So now we're going to pull our fabric together. See, it's together. Put our hands back on it for guiding. Then we're going to go on to this corner. And keep your main goal, your only goal, is to make a straight line. About halfway down, you stop. Needle down, foot up. Turn your fabric. Once again, because I stopped at halfway, it's just about right. So now I'm going to line my fabric up again, and we're going to repeat. We're going to follow the edge of the fabric. Very simple, but this step helps you learn to sew a straight line. I want you to do this until you're comfortable sewing a straight line. Now we're going to come back to the beginning here, where we started. See, this is where we started. I'm going to sew to the line. Now this is the ending of it. So now we have to go frontwards and backwards to lock our stitch. So we push reverse, 3 stitches, frontwards 3 stitches. Lift your needle, lift your foot, pull, cut your thread. I like to keep a clean station, so I'm always throwing thread away. Now, as you can see, I've got a very good straight line all the way around it. You see that pretty good? Hopefully yours looks that good too. If not, what I want you to do is this line you sewed right here, match that to the edge of your foot. See what I did? There's the line, and there's the edge of my foot. I want you to repeat what we just did. You go forward 3 steps, back 3 steps, and then go all the way back to the corner, making sure your foot follows the edge of that sewn line that you created a moment ago. And all you're doing is practicing straight lines. And you get about 1/2 inch away from that line, needle down, foot up, you turn it, realign it so your foot follows that straight line. And you do that all the way around. It's very easy, and this is a great way to practice making a straight line. There's where I began. So I'll cross it, reverse, forward. And when you're cutting your thread and starting over, one thing you want to make sure, this top thread that's coming out of your needle, you need to have a tail. Okay, that's a good tail. Good 6 to 8 inches. Put it between the toes of your foot and push it behind your machine. If you do not have 6 to 8 inches of a tail, what you're going to do when you start sewing, your sewing machine will take that little bit that you might have here and pull it upwards. That's how it creates a stitch. If you do not have a long enough tail, you're going to unthread your machine, and you will spend a lot of time rethreading your machine. Ask me how I know that. Ask my students. Many of them have learned the hard way. Okay, I'm not going to sew anymore, but I want you to keep sewing inside that square until you are satisfied that you have a straight line. That's your first project on today's lesson. Okay, so when you use fusible fleece, there's a smooth side and there's a bumpy side. The bumpy side goes on the back side of your fabric. So I lay it over there. Make sure all the edges are covered because I do not want to iron it to my ironing board. Once it's positioned properly, you take your iron and you press and hold. Do not iron. You don't go like this. You hold it. Let it get good and hot. And then you move it over to the next spot. Make sure it's ironed down. Once I'm sure it's ironed down, then I will smooth my iron over it. But I press it first. Now, I have 2 pieces of fabric with fusible fleece. What I'm going to need is a fabric. I'm going to use the same fabric on the top and the bottom. In my original classes, they could choose a top fabric and a bottom fabric. They could be different. I'm going to use the same color fabric today. You need 5.5 inch square times 2. So you need 2 5.5 inch squares, which I've already got cut out. I've already got them cut out, 5.5 inch squares. And you'll need fusible fleece. You'll need 2 squares of fusible fleece. I've already got one done, so I'll just do the other one here while you're watching. It needs to be 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Normally, I cut it with my little cutter, but I'm not going to today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So I'm going to go, I can see through this. I can see where my line is. It's a little bigger than I needed, so I'm going to cut it. You can get this fusible fleece at Hobby Lobby or online. All right, it needs to be 5.5 by 5.5. Measure twice, cut once. I don't want to make it too small. And I like it to be just a little hair smaller than my finished project because I will be sewing, I'll be ironing. I don't want it to iron itself onto my ironing pad, ironing board. So I do make it just a little bit smaller. Just a little, see, just a little. Okay. I already did part of it earlier. I've already fused fleece on this one. So I'm going to put fleece on this one. So let's go to the sewing or my ironing board. Okay. Now before we sew, get this. See, before we sew, we need to pin our items together. And what we do is we put good sides of your fabric together. So you match them like that. My pins are downstairs in my other sewing room. So I'm using these little clips. A lot of people prefer the clips. I actually prefer pins. But because my pins are downstairs, I will use clips. And this is to hold your fabric still so it doesn't move while you're sewing. Okay, so I've got it clipped. Now, for us to, when you sew two items together like we're about ready to, we need to flip it when we're done. So we have to leave a gap that you do not sew so you can flip it. When you have to flip something, you do not start on the corner. It makes it very difficult to flip when you start on the corner. So we're going to start right about here. We're going to go frontwards and backwards like I taught you earlier. So we line the edge of our foot with the fabric, go forward about 3 stitches, go backwards about 3 stitches, go to the corner like I showed you. I'm actually going to move it. I went too far. You could do that. Then we're going to go all the way down. We're going to follow the edge of the fabric. If you notice, my fusible fleece is not on the edge of the fabric. Do not follow the edge of your fusible fleece. Follow the edge of your fabric. So you follow to the end of that square. And it's just like I taught you when you was practicing sewing a straight stitch. Everything I teach you, you will use it for the next video. So when you did this, it was preparing you for making our coaster. So just what you learn here will help you here. So you lift your foot, keep your needle down and you turn it like I did. Follow the edge of your foot. Remove your pins or your clips before you get there. Do not sew over your pins or your clips, or you can break your needle, bend your needle. Always, always remove your pins or your clips. So I'm at the spot, leave my needle down, foot up, and I turn it. Follow this one, follow the edge of my fabric with my foot. Notice how my hands are guiding it to keep it from slipping and going crooked and wonky. Okay, this is my last side. This is where I began, right here. So I need to leave an opening. So I'm going to stop right about here. So I'm going to actually put my finger there to remind me because sometimes we forget. Okay, Now I need to go backwards and forwards. Now if you didn't go backwards and forwards at the beginning of this, where you have the opening, as you would find out, your stitches would come undone because there's nothing to keep them solid. Okay, so now you should have something like this. We have stitches all the way around and a big opening here. Now take your scissors and we're going to cut your corners off. When you cut your corners off, do not cross your sewed line. Get as close to it as you can. See how I'm close to it? I didn't cut it. This will reduce the bulk inside your coaster when you're flipping it. You'll be glad you did it. Okay, so we got all four of our corners clipped. Now we're going to flip it. So we put our fingers here and we manipulate it. Just remember, it's fabric. You show it who's boss. Your stitches should be good because you double stitched it. They should not come undone despite the pressure you're putting on it. So you flip it. Now, once you get it flipped, you're going to have four corners that you need to poke out to make it look nice and polished. Okay? See, that one's not poked out. So I could take either a seam ripper, an ink pen, and work on getting it poked out. Because I don't want rounded corners. I want my nice squared corners. Do not use anything sharp or you will poke a hole in your item. There we go. All right. So now we've got it poked out. That one's still not very good. Like I said, I don't like my rounded corners. There we go. All right. So now we have this. Now we're going to put our fingers on the edge of the hole and pull down. And that will pull your seams down nice and easy. I'm going to put a clip here to help hold it until I'm ready to sew it. Now, see how kind of puffy it is? Nice and puffy. It's a coaster. You don't want that to be your finished project. So we're going to top stitch it. And when you top stitch it, it'll take away this puffiness. So to top stitch it, I'm using the wrong color threads. I'm just letting you know. That's so you could see it. But if I was top stitching this, I would use pink on the top and the bottom. But because I want you to see my seams, we're going to use a dark thread. When we sew top stitching, do not sew where your edge of your foot runs along the fabric like I've been teaching you. You actually want, let's see. You see this right here? Okay, here's my needle. And there's a line right here on my foot. I will need to actually follow that line. That way my seam is really tiny and it'll be along the edge of my, see how tiny it is? Can you see that? I'll show it to you. So you'll go there, pull it out and show it to you. See how close to the edge I am? That's what you need to do. You need to get as close to the edge as you possibly can and sew a straight line. And you're going to do this all the way around, all the way around. Not just over this little hole that we have. We're going to go all the way around it. And you guide it with your hands. Threads will bother me, sorry. Okay, so you want to go all the way around as close to the edge as you possibly can while still getting the fabric. I'll show you the finished project in just a minute. And this is your beginner sewing lesson number 1. The object of this lesson is to learn how to sew a straight line and how to flip a project, of course. All right, that's the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and reverse. There you go. Now remember how puffy it was earlier? Look at it. See how smooth that is? If you did this, if you followed along this class with me and you made a poster with me, please provide a image below. Let me see what it looks like. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see what y'all are doing. All right, that is the end of beginner lesson number 1, where you are learning to sew a straight stitch.